Received a fixed penalty notice and wondering if there's any way to avoid paying? Let's look at what these notices are, why you might have received one, and your chances of not having to pay. Fixed penalty notices were initially a way to fine people for parking contraventions. However, over the decades, they've been served for a growing number of motoring offences and even fly tipping, antisocial behaviour, and even littering. These days, one of the most common reasons to receive a fixed penalty notice, or FPN, is for speeding offences. Fixed penalty notices are used as an alternative to cases having to go to a magistrate's court. They give you the option of accepting a fine and/or points on your driving licence. If you choose not to accept the fine, you'll need to attend a magistrate's court for a hearing. If you do accept guilt, then you'll have to pay either a £50, £100, £200 or £300 fine depending on the type of offence. For example, driving without insurance carries a heavier fine than failing to give way. There is a loophole which might get you out of paying a fixed penalty notice. To be issued with a fixed penalty notice, you must first be issued with a Notice of Intended Prosecution, or NIP. Parts of this process have time limits, which, if exceeded, become a convenient loophole for not having to pay. At the time of an offence, an enforcement or police officer can give you an NIP verbally, but if you're caught by a speed camera, for instance, then the NIP will be posted out to whoever is the registered owner of the vehicle. These postal NIPs must be sent within 14 days from the date of the alleged speeding offence. It has been known for the police to send out a Notice of Intended Prosecution late. Things like a bank holiday or a postal strike could also delay an NIP. If your NIP wasn't sent within 14 days of the offence, the police can no longer prosecute. This means you cannot be served with a fixed penalty notice and therefore don't have to pay a fine or accept penalty points on your licence. The police won't necessarily know that it arrived late, so be sure to send it back as out of time. Otherwise, you'll risk being summoned to a magistrate's court for failing to comply. However, if the NIP was served within 14 days, then there is a second time limit that the police need to adhere to. They only have 6 months to issue you with the actual fine, the fixed penalty notice. So if there's a delay sending you your fixed penalty notice, then you might not have to pay. However, as we're dealing with a much more significant time frame, this one is less likely to occur. But if your fixed penalty notice does arrive late, then like a late NIP, you'll need to let the police know why it is you won't be paying. For speeding offences, opting to attend a speed awareness course can be a good way to get out of paying. You'll usually be offered a chance to attend one of these if it's your first offence and you are only slightly over the speed limit. These courses will chew up a day of your time. They'll require you to get yourself there and are hardly a barrel of laughs, but they are usually considered preferable to a fine. However, it's up to the discretion of the police whether or not to offer you the chance to attend one of these, and you can't ask to be put on one. Plus, you're only a first-time speeding offender once. If you choose to pay the fine instead of attending, but later get caught speeding again, don't think that the course will be offered to you a second time. Aside from these two loopholes, there's very little else that will get you out of paying a fixed penalty notice if the offence was genuine. Even though you might wish to contest the fine in court, and you do have the right to do so, it can be very difficult to win these cases. You could hire an expensive lawyer or barrister to argue your case in court, and many celebrities have done just this successfully, but it's still not guaranteed, and it's not something that everyone can afford to do. And be warned, an unsuccessful fixed penalty notice is likely to result in an even bigger fine. However, if you think the offence wasn't genuine, say it wasn't you that committed the offence, like if your car had been stolen or if your vehicle was mistakenly identified, then in those circumstances it could be worth contesting the fine. If you want to challenge a fixed penalty notice or you're worried that a fine is about to land you in trouble, a popular option is to consult a solicitor for help. There's many online solicitors that work out cheaper and easier than meeting in person. JustAnswer, for example, only costs £5 for a trial. One of my colleagues managed to save over £270 on a parking ticket by using their service. I've linked that offer down in the description, and if you use that, you'll also be supporting Money Nerd. So thank you.